Perfect.
Alrighty. So maybe just give everyone else 1 more minute to enter. We're just waiting for a few more people, but we should be able to get started shortly.
That's great. We're at 53.
Wonderful. Okay, all right. I'm just going to switch my camera on shortly and say a quick hello. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. All right, we have almost a full house tonight. We're expecting a few more people, but we'll hope that they pop on in the next few minutes so that they can enjoy the training session with us this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your Wednesday to join us. We're really excited to share all these details with you. As you all know, we've been working tirelessly behind the scenes to get all of our plans rolled out for our new virtual Gutsy Walk for this August. So thank you so much for everything that you do. We really, truly appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without you. So we're excited to really show you some of the details and how things are going to roll out over the next few months and everything that it will entail. So my name's Robin Kennedy. I'm the National Manager of Signature Events with Crohn's and Colitis Canada. So I'll be taking you through our slideshow this evening. Also with me is Jacqueline Alvarez, who's our National Director of Community Engagement, and also helping us tonight is Sherry Peng, who is our Community Engagement Coordinator and National Trainer. So without further delay, I'm just going to turn my camera off and I am going to start our presentation. All right, so let me know if you can't see my screen okay. Naval or Jacqueline, just give me a heads up if otherwise. So if you are new to GoToWebinar, there are a few features on the right-hand side, none of which you really need to use, but I did want to draw your attention to the chat feature and the question feature. So throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to type them into the question feature or the chat feature. My colleagues Jacqueline and Sherry, as well as Naval, are going to be watching to jump in where possible, but please do feel free to offer some feedback and offer your questions and let us know your thoughts. Okay, so first off, I'm going to hand it over to Jacqueline, and she's going to talk us through the first part of our slide. So Jacqueline, over to you.
I'm on mute, sorry about that. So I'm Jacqueline Alvarez, National Director of Community Engagement. Thank you so much. As Robin said, we're really excited to go through this. And I want to warn everybody, we're working from home, and I've got some dogs in the background, and I've tried to give them a little treat so they keep quiet. So I'm not sure what happens when the treat's over, but I promise to try and mute where possible. So I apologize in advance for any of those type of technical difficulties. So that being said, I wanted to just kind of do a hello face, and I might pop back off as we're going back and forth. So in terms of the agenda, as far as how we're moving forward for the next little bit, we want to do a welcome. We want to talk a little bit about, the impact of Gutsy Walk, your impact. We also wanted to talk a little bit about, how did we arrive at Gutsy Walk Virtual 2020? What does that mean? How we hope to bring it to life together with, of course, the support of our amazing volunteers like yourselves, and a little bit about communication objectives, channels, and how we're looking to methodize what talking about Gutsy Walk over the next 2.5 months looks like. We're going to give you a sneak peek on what we're defining as walking across Canada. We want to share a little bit more detail regarding the 25-day countdown. And of course, we just kind of wanted to do like a little review around what does Sunday, August 23rd, what does that look like, as this is all very new to all of us. Next slide, Robin. Next slide. Thank you. So just kind of really highlighting, of course, we all know why it matters for many of us. There's a very personal connection, so important to our families, to our friends, our loved ones. We know in Canada there are 270,000 Canadians living with IBD. And we also know that it costs $1.28 billion as an annual cost for Canadians living with IBD. And of course, our promise, Crohn's and Colitis Canada's promise to the community, to you, your families, is that we will find a cure, and we also want to improve the lives of children and adults affected by these chronic diseases. And how we do this, as many of you know, is through research, education, awareness, and various programs that we provide. Last year, the Gutsy Walk 2019, thank you to many of you who were chairing, who were on the committee. We had over 18,000 participants and over 700 top pledge earners, and all in all raising over $3.1 million and with over 1,260 teams. And more importantly, the impact of that was that we were able to invest $6.7 million in promising research. Our GEM project is in phase 3. We released the impact of IBD report. We have 47 research projects on the go being funded by us. And of course, we have 17 major hospitals and universities that are supported by our research grants and awards. And that is like super important because that really helps to pave the way in bringing new talent into the IBD sector, ensuring that we're teaching, we're growing, whether it be our nurses or our GIs, but that we're attracting the best and that they continue to help support our Canadians who are living here with IBD. Some of the programs that we know many of you are familiar with, Camp Gotta Go, Go Here, our peer-to-peer support, and of course our education webinars. So thank you. That's just kind of like a highlight of how Gutsy Walk is able to really, with your support, help drive all the work that we do. And we're so appreciative in having you help us lead the way for that. So now I'm going to hand it over to Robin.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. All right. My apologies. Sometimes it takes our slideshow a second or so to catch up here, but perfect. So zoning in on all things Gutsy Walk, we wanted to walk you through a few different pieces of everything about this year. And of course, the Gutsy Walk every year is an amazing community-driven event that is brought to life by yourselves from coast to coast across the country. And this year, of course, is the 25th anniversary, which marks it's the country's largest community fundraiser for Crohn's and Colitis Canada. And of course, 25 years is an incredible milestone in whatever you're celebrating. So we're very excited to bring that to life. We're excited to see what you're all able to do. And despite it being a very new event for all of us in the virtual concept, we're very much looking forward to everything coming in August. Across the country, there are over 60 locations. Traditionally, those locations are, of course, at physical walk sites. And the unique part about this year is that we're able to bring it to life virtually. So there may be people in more than 60 locations, places where we haven't traditionally had a Gutsy Walk before. They're able to participate because it's a virtual event, and they can stay active on our various social media channels through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Of course, our virtual Gutsy Walk this year is a little bit marked by the COVID pandemic. While this pandemic affects us today, the urgent research we fund is, of course, long lasting. And we look forward to bringing a number of campaigns and engaging experiences to you in your homes so that we can really participate in this together. With technology a click away and from the comfort of everyone's homes, neighborhoods, or parks, everyone is invited to walk, to run, skip, or jump, really whatever helps them feel like they're a part of the Gutsy Walk this year is what we want to see everyone doing to really rally together and bring the entire Crohn's and Colitis community together. Okay, wonderful. So first things first, I thought I would start with one of our exciting campaigns we're doing for this year. As we are walking coast to coast in well over 60 plus locations, we are going to be having a challenge friendly competition, if you will, between provinces for individuals to track their steps. So starting in June, which of course is now, the official launch will be next week, we're asking people to count their steps and their kilometers that they're walking in the days leading up to August 23rd. Towards the August 23rd, there's going to be a survey in the participant center where people can go in and let us know how many steps they've walked, how many kilometers they've walked, so we can really see how many steps we've taken as a team across the country. Of course, that's many, many kilometers, but our goal is to have our entire Gutsy Walk family walk together virtually coast to coast. And we hope that everyone will participate and track their steps and let us know how far they've walked when that survey becomes available at the end of August. Our tagline for this year is walk with us virtually, anywhere, anyhow. And as mentioned, it is a little bit different this year because we don't have parks, but we really want to drive home the fact that this is something that anyone can really do anywhere. While we might not all be able to meet at a park, there's things that we can all do from our homes, in our driveways, in our backyards. And for some of us across the country, even going to a park may be an option. With the pandemic, all of our provinces and all of our communities are impacted in a really different way. So if there's that opportunity for a team or a family or a small group to gather in a park, by all means, we encourage people to get their communities together and meet in a park. But for others, that might not be a possibility, and it means they're doing their activities from home. Regardless of where it's happening, that experience will be the same. We're really aiming to make those virtual campaigns engaging so that regardless of where people are walking or running or skipping, they're feeling connected to what they're doing and really driven about everything leading up to the day, and of course on the big Gutsy Walk day. With that as well is being able to walk anyhow. So traditionally it's a walk or a run, but maybe people are wheeling or skipping or doing a skip or doing laps around their neighborhood or spinning in circles 25 times. We really want to give all of our communities the flexibility to stay active in whatever way works for them. So maybe it doesn't work to do a walk or a run if they're in a little bit more of a more isolated situation, and that's okay. Whatever really speaks to that community, to that participant, to that community, to stay active is really what we hope to see. And there's been some really creative ideas coming forward so far, and we're really excited to help you bring all of those ideas to life. So the how of our virtual event. So how will we walk together on Sunday, August 23rd? So as mentioned, there will be a number of virtual tie-ins through our social media at our various handles that are listed there. But really, it's about bringing that virtual experience into the home. So one thing that I really tend to focus on is, as much as it is a virtual event, and there will be things online and emails and social media challenges and pictures and videos, this event really comes to life in people's homes, with people's friends, and with their family. It's about what they're doing offline. It's about the noise that they're making together and the fundraising and the advocacy that at the end of the day really makes this such an amazing event. The social media aspects this year will only heighten that, but we really want everyone to remember you've always done such an incredible job at bringing this to life outside of social media. This year will be no different. It's just brought into people's homes and into people's lives just a little bit of a different way. So thank you so much for all that you've done. I know there's some people on this call that have done many, many, many Gutsy walks. I myself am fairly new to the organization, but I've heard absolutely incredible things. And I know there's some people that haven't seen a Gutsy walk before, and let me tell you, you are in for some very special times ahead, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you all. So our Gutsy Walk chair, our logistics chair, food and beverage, social media, media leads, sponsorship chairs, registration and team stewardship, prizing and entertainment. It really does take a lot of people to bring these to life, and your efforts are so appreciated across the board. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Sherry Pang. She's going to speak to us a little bit about our social media. So Sherry, if you want to take yourself off mute, and I can flip through the slides for you.
Thanks, Robin. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good night so far. So far, so good. My dogs haven't barked yet either. Yay. A lot of you were with us last week when we went through social media, so I won't go into too much in depth here, but as Robin said, this is going to be such a huge part of our event this year, and so we just want to touch on a few kind of other channels as well and just highlight it for anybody that wasn't on the call last week. As Robin said, you know, our main accounts that we use at Crohn's and Colitis Canada, our national accounts are at Get Gutsy Canada. So that's our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Instagram. And then locally, we have, you know, and most communities probably have a Facebook account. Many of you have Twitter accounts. Some of you have Instagram accounts. There may be others that we don't really, you know, that are newer that you might have, but you know, these are the ones that we really concentrate on. And last week, what we talked about is just having real consistency with all these accounts, with the way we name them. You know, at Get Gutsy and whatever your chapter might be, the cover photo that goes on each account, the profile pic of our little Gutsy guy here that goes on each one, and the bio, you know, making sure all of those are consistent. So if you haven't done so yet, or maybe you need help with your staff partner, can you know, take a look at your accounts, make sure they've all been updated with the new information that was sent out. So it's really important that we all, you know, keep our messaging on brand and consistent. So we do have style guidelines. Those went out as well, but if you haven't received them and you're, you know, you're overseeing your accounts, feel free to ask again your staff partner for that. And you know, and this is really all about awareness. How, you know, living with the disease, how important it is, but making, creating awareness for our Gutsy Walk as well. Yeah, the next slide, please, Robin. Did you want me to slow down for a question? Okay. So besides social media, which is going to be a huge part of the event this year, we do still have our traditional media outlets. So I just want to kind of touch on them a little bit. And, you know, before we had social media, we really went to our standbys, you know, broadcast media, which would be, you know, television stations and radio stations. And then print, local newspapers. I know they're not as plentiful, or magazines, and then social media. So, you know, we want to talk about, you know, trying to hit everybody. You know, the more we can engage, the more we can create awareness for this event and get people out, get them all excited. Next, please. So, you know, ways to promote Gutsy Walk through other means besides social media. You know, our in-kind sponsorship opportunities. So taking the sponsorship packages that we have, approaching local media outlets, whether it's a radio station, print or broadcast or television station, and asking them if, you know, if they'd be interested in being an in-kind media sponsor. That, you know, they might promote your event through, you know, through their social media channels, maybe with something on TV or PSA on the radio, and you in turn will acknowledge them. There's also tons of online calendar listings in all communities, so you can, you know, just really Google online calendar listings in your town or city that you're in, and you'll see radio stations have them. You know, city councilors have them. You know, bigger companies, there's tons of miscellaneous ones. So that's a really great way to, you know, to have your event posted and get awareness that way. We'll come out with a PSA, which is a public service announcement. So that's something short and sweet that you can distribute. You know, typically it would go to again, television or radio, and it's something they might just read. So it's usually 15 seconds. Like I said, short and sweet. You know, this is the who, what, where, and when. And you know, if they have time to add it into their rotation, they will. And then send a media alert. So more of again, expanding on the who, what, where, and when, but more of a story to, you know, to see if they might want to cover the event, either leading up to it or the day of. Another way to raise awareness is to pitch a feature story to community newspapers. You could do this to radio and broadcast as well, but with newspapers, to have like the full feature, you know, from A to Z, kind of, you know, almost ready to go, so that when they see it, they might not even have to edit it, but can put it right into the newspaper, or maybe their online newspaper as well. So that's called pitching a feature story. And again, your staff partner or myself is, I'm happy to help you through that. A lot of times we'll use the honorary chair story, is usually a great one to do that with. Next slide, please. Oh, so I just kind of expand on that, and these are, you know, a few different examples of how that was used. So similar to the media alert, but can be used, like I said, as is. Best for community papers. Use facts, again, be concise and have an angle. You know, so a lot of it is the angle might be, you know, the perseverance of somebody that's you know, been diagnosed and came through a bad time, and how hopeful they are with the funds that we're going to raise through the Gutsy Walk. Include photos, which are, you know, obviously great visuals, and then you send that to the editors, but 4 to 6 weeks before the event. So, you know, probably looking at the beginning of July to try to do that. Next slide, please. And then, oh, I think that's it for me. Robin, you're going to take it from here?
Yeah, all good. So I will jump back in. Thanks so much, Sherry.
Short and sweet for me.
Absolutely. So just expanding on some more of our core elements of Gutsy Walk is our sponsorship. So traditionally at the national and the local level, there are sponsors who provide monetary donations, and in return, we have certain deliverables that we provide back to them. So in the past, it's been, before I continue, on the right-hand side there is an example of our sponsors from 2019. And that's what our signage board on site used to look like. This year, it is a little bit different, again, because we don't have those physical sites. So we worked on updating a sponsorship package that reflects the virtual needs. If you haven't received that yet, it's available, and you can connect with your staff partner and they'll be able to share that with you and go over some of the details. But also for this year, we do recognize that we're in a very different economic state than we have been before. So there are a lot of businesses that are not as successful as they used to be. There's some businesses that are closed, and that's okay. We completely recognize that. And the take on that is that there's always a conversation that can be had. We're in a very, our climate's ever changing. So as things are now, they may not be that same way in a few months from now as well. There are, however, a few businesses that are profiting from our changed landscape. So brainstorm in your community some places that might be doing well. So maybe there's some grocery stores, some homeware stores. I know everyone's spending a lot of time outdoors in their gardens or in their backyards. So plant stores or gardening stores, perhaps. There's always ways to be creative and brainstorm, but we do recognize this is a different year for sponsorship. This year, we're excited to let you all know that we do have a different local level, so our $100 anniversary option for all of our sponsors that donate at least $100 or more. So with that comes an inclusion on a selfie certificate that all participants who finish the Gutsy Walk this year will have access to, and that people that qualify at that $100 level, their name or their logo will appear on that certificate. So it's something to commemorate the 25th year, something that we haven't done before, And we hope, especially in this different landscape, that it's something that if a business may not be as successful, it's something that they still might be able to contribute where possible. Okay, and Jacqueline, I think this was your slide here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So I'm sure everybody, if you're hearing our voices, we're kind of jumping around a little bit, and it's really reflective of the climate that we're in. We've all had to kind of pivot a few different ways, try to help each other out, the team, and of course continue to push forward under the umbrella of Crohn's and Colitis Canada. We know this is a very unique year, and so while we're so thankful that you continue to support your passion, your commitment. A lot of these topics we've just gone through is really in terms of showcasing some of the different things that as a team, hopefully everybody can continue to come together, whether you're the food and beverage chair or the logistics chair, because we are in a little bit of a different place, like similar to us, that we're all, hands together, being stronger. So one of the examples, of course, is what you're looking at here, the registration and team stewardship. So historically, our there they go. I apologize, everybody. Historically, across the country, we've held retention call nights. We've reached out to our participants to thank them for their work. We've congratulated them, and these are things that can continue to take place. So whether you're recognizing participants for their efforts, or you're encouraging them to personalize their fundraising pages, sending emails or phone calls. Through your staff partners, we look forward to continue to supporting with the tools and the resources so that we can continue to bring our participants forward and remind them that we really need them more than ever, and we're so thankful for them for any little bit that they can do to join and help us make our voice louder and let people know about the importance of these diseases. Robin?
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks so much. So next up is our entertainment feature. Again, just comparing it back to last year, usually at our physical walk sites, there is an entertainment element to it. There may be dancers, singers, performers, anything of that nature. And this year, of course, all different because it's virtual. If you're like me, at this point, I've done at least one video call with friends or family, and I think that the entertainment industry is steadily becoming more available virtually. So there might be some ways that you can integrate some of that virtual entertainment into your lead up to Gutsy Walk Day and even on Gutsy Walk Day. So maybe worth considering reaching out to past performers to see if they're able to help in a warm up. See if they might be comfortable doing a music performance virtually and online. A lot of them are, everyone, like the rest of us, are exploring new ways to do things from home. So maybe they have some new talents as well that they've picked up, new instruments, you never know. But there's always different types of way that you can tie in virtual entertainment into both the lead up to August 23rd as well as on Gutsy Walk Day. Okay, so for our prizing, throughout the year, there's going to be various contests to help drive engagement. And for the prizing committee, there are gift cards where usually there's various prizing at the events. And there'll be the opportunity to still collect those prizing, but in terms of gift cards might be something to consider for this year, given that everything is virtual. So again, similar to sponsorship, there are some businesses that are doing better than others, places like grocery stores, hardware stores, maybe tech companies, people with an online presence. Maybe there's some influencers, maybe there's a jewelry shop with an e-commerce store. People that are set up to function online that might be able to offer gift cards for people to use online might be something to consider this year as well. But there are lots of ways to pivot things. It requires a little bit of creativity, and definitely feel free to connect with your staff partner for some ideas and how to best incorporate that.
Thanks, Robin. So again, we recognize, just going back to that prizing slide, that different committees and events operate a little bit differently. So we just kind of wanted to put it out there, and you know, whether you have individuals on the committee to help support that, that's fantastic. And if not, of course, completely understandable too. You're probably wondering, why is there a question mark on this slide that we're looking at right now? Well, as we were putting this plan together, this PowerPoint, it occurred to us that the topic of prizing might also elicit some conversation around, what does prizing look like for Gutsy Walk in terms of for participants? Will there be a t-shirt? Will we be providing gift cards the way we have in the past? And what we wanted to do, since we knew we were going to have some great representation here on the call, we wanted to kind of get your input on that. So my question is, and we're not going to open the lines because there's too many people, but we ask that you put in your comments in the chat feature. The first question, before I go into the question, as you know, health charities and certainly Crohn's and Colitis Canada, these have been very difficult times. You know, having to pivot away from in-person events, we certainly rely on a lot of that to help fund our research. And we're committed to continuing with that research. So we also know that the Gutsy Walk has a history of providing incentive prizing, and of course the t-shirts. We know the t-shirts are loved, appreciated, and so forth. And so we just kind of wanted to get a feel from each of you as you represent your committees as well. What do you feel would be the sentiment if we were to not move forward with t-shirts? I apologize again for the dogs. So just share your thoughts in the chat section. We'd love to review this, just kind of get a sense from everybody after this call is over. If we decided to not move ahead with t-shirts, and of course, if we messaged it to our participants, do we think that it would dissuade people from fundraising? We know we've seen other walks cancel their shirts. We've seen some other walks where, unfortunately, before COVID happened, they had already ordered some, so they were moving forward with it. But again, we also recognize that it's the 25th anniversary of the Gutsy Walk. So a treasured shirt, perhaps. So again, just kind of wanted to invite different lenses on the topic. And of course, the challenging part with this, you know, like some of the other organizations are trying to face as well, is that we don't have the ability to disperse them as we would typically do on a walk day. So we're also trying to keep that in mind, and in terms of what shipping costs might look like as well. And then the flip side to that would be, you know, how would people feel if we moved ahead with the shirts? Would people feel upset that we were investing funds in some of those swag items, knowing that it's not a typical year? So these are the conversations we've been having back and forth. So again, just kind of wanted to put it out there. We invite you to share your feedback, please, please. Like I said, I assure you, there are charities, walks across Canada, different organizations, large and small, who are really struggling with this decision. And we really wanted to bring it to you guys first. You guys are the hearts and the souls of bringing these events to life, and we're so appreciative of it. So we look forward to gathering that information and coming to a conclusion ASAP so that we can start messaging our participants as well. So with that, I will, you know, if you want to give it some more thought and put in some of your comments even after the fact, of course, you're more than welcome to. Thanks, Robin.
All right, thanks, Jacqueline. So while you're all finishing up typing your questions in there, I am going to continue just because we do have a fulsome presentation, and we'll try and stick as much as we can to our time slot. So next up is our communication. So we'll be going over our objectives for this year, the channels, and the methods at which that's being delivered to you. So all of our Gutsy Walk communications are definitely a team effort. There's those communications that happen at the national level, and those that happen, of course, at the local level within your committees and your communities. So the national schedule consists of various direct mailings, which may be letters, email blasts or e-blasts as we call them, which are sent directly to people's inboxes. Social media, of course, which we've covered. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, videos as well. So pre-recorded videos of maybe researchers or national honorary chair, etc. Newsletters, as well as phone calls. So all of those communications are essential in building engagement, building campaigns, getting everyone loud about everything Gutsy Walk leading up to the day. To add to that as well, before I jump into the local communications, this year for our mailings, we are but we're providing all of our participants who register a registration kit. So because there is no physical element on the day of, and there likely will not be, of course, dependent on province, the opportunity for people to get together in groups as before as they have, we were really wanting to provide something physical, something they could hold in their hands and have on the event day that still really connected them to the cause and connected them to that physicality of really being at a fundraising walk. So that registration kit will have a tattoo, probably a couple, some stickers, a swag promotional item, which is branded with Gutsy Walk branding, as well as a makeshift finish line, mock finish line. So something fun that they can use in their house and decorate with so that they really feel like they're at a walk at the end of the day. So that registration kit will be sent out to everyone who registers for the Gutsy Walk, and we're really looking forward to getting that out to everyone to provide that link back to the Gutsy Walk where the physical meetups don't happen. Communications at the local level, the frequency is something that you can decide on your own. Hopefully it will complement our national schedule, but of course the heart and focus is really putting that community feel on it. You all know your communities and your neighborhoods and your cities and towns the best, and you know what kind of things really speak to your local participants and all of your walkers. The objectives with the communications are maybe built around local content. So maybe there's some Gutsy Walk fundraisers happening in your hometowns that you know about, encouraging people to register, thanking them, motivating them, providing some fundraising tips, sharing national honorary chair stories. So far this year, we've heard some really wonderful stories about some content and some engaging pieces that have come from committees on a local level. And again, in the chat section or in the question section, we'd love to hear what your committee has done so far this year. So I'll take a little 5 to 10 second pause, just keeping an eye on time. We do have some things to get through. So I'll let you type in your thoughts and ideas if you have anything that you'd like to share with us about what your committee has done so far for local communications. And I will continue to flip through our slides. So
Robin,
yes.
So sorry, if I can add, we're not going to be able to get to everybody's questions. However, you have our commitment and assurance that we will address them and we will respond back to all the attendees and those who couldn't attend with full responses to any questions that we've missed. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there because this is a little bit of a lengthier presentation.
Wonderful, thanks, Jacqueline. I'll just skim over this one. We've gone over this a little bit, but again, some things that you could think about adding to your content for your communications could be our stories, again, honorary chairs, committees, caregivers, why Gutsy Walk is important and the impact, including some fundraising tips, celebrating milestones, and of course, thanking everyone, including yourselves, for all the incredible things that are done across the board. So you've heard us mention honorary chairs a couple times. This is our National Honorary Chair for 2020. Her name is Emma. She's from the Niagara region, and she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when she was 10 years old. We just wanted to give this as an example of maybe just what an honorary chair looks like if you're not familiar with it. And local honorary chairs this year especially are really, really important. So if you do or if you don't have one, they're a really great resource to leverage leading all the way up to Gutsy Walk. They're a face in the community that people might know and people might recognize, wonderful advocacy. And from a communication standpoint, you can use their photos, you can have them pre-record videos, you can have them on the event day doing a speech and thanking everyone. This is just an example of a few of ours from across the country, but of course, if you don't have one, definitely a great year to consider diving into the community and seeing if there's somebody that would like to step up for the job in your local area. So our communication schedule for this year, this is an example of what 1 month may look like. This is more just to give you an idea of what the structure looks like at the national level. So typically we would send out an e-blast accompanied with a social media post on the same day or almost right after, and then a second follow-up social media post. We have them spread out about every week or 10 days. I apologize, I'm not sure if that image looks skewed on your end. I'm not sure if that's just my computer, but hopefully that doesn't muck everything up too much. But regardless, that communication schedule is something we hope that will be helpful to you guys in planning your local communications. So if you want to plan some campaigns in tangent with the campaigns and themes that are happening nationally, that resource is available to you. And you can connect with your staff partner if you need a copy of it, or if you just like to take a look at what the schedule might be. So moving forward, Sherry did talk a little bit about social media. This is an example of what our national accounts look like, and this is what our rebrand, if you will, for the virtual walk looks like. The imagery, so our lovely lady in the purple shirt was used on our collateral and such before. And for the virtual components of the walk, we've added the virtual tagline, the virtual date, and the Gutsy walk is now virtual. But there are accompanying cover photos for social media if you'd like to update it. And there are a set of guidelines that were shared in terms of using the right handles and updating biographies so that they're in line with the social media guidelines. And again, you can connect with your staff partner if you have any questions about those guidelines or how to update everything. Here again is another example of what our national e-blasts look like. Most importantly, we want to remind you that these are just examples of everything that happens at the national level, just so that you can see what we're doing. By no means does the local need to look exactly like this. And in fact, we always want that our local community events to really have that community feel to them and have that uniqueness about them. But sharing photos, sharing content, recognizing sponsors if you need to, and so on and so forth. This year, we touched on this a little bit, but sharing videos on social media and in emails is a really great resource. Again, if you have any advocates in your area, it could be a caregiver, it could be a top pledge earner or a top fundraiser, maybe a team captain or a really spirited team that's really loud in the community. There's always an opportunity to get people to film their own videos, and by no means does it ever have to be any kind of really professional quality. It's amazing what you can do with the phone these days, and luckily we've got that technology at our fingertips. And just putting that ask out there, there's always usually somebody that wants to get involved and share their stories via video, which you can then share back out to your communities. So our Gutsy Walk website, we just wanted to remind everyone as well that our top teams and individuals are always listed on the website. So if you haven't visited the website in a while, feel free to take a look at it and check back frequently. It is updated as teams and individuals hit certain milestones, and it's really exciting for local communities to see those achievements. So, maybe somebody's in first or second place. Share that achievement out with your community. It's really empowering and it's really motivating to see what others are doing. So just a reminder to check back there and see how the fundraising is progressing. In line with that is the local community pages for the events that are on the website. So you can go through and select each local page, and it'll give you a quick snapshot of the fundraising amounts, the top teams in that area, as well as the top fundraisers. So again, if you haven't checked it out recently, feel free to pop back in, maybe bookmark the page, and see how your community is doing. Every once in a while, maybe you want to share it outwards to your community as well. just to let them know maybe what some stats are. But again, that's totally up to you. We just want to let you know that those tools are there. And pardon me, that they're available to you guys just to keep tabs on how everything is going. Similar to that, everyone that registers for Gutsy Walk has a personal page. So this is for the individual or for the team. And one thing that really speaks to people is reading about everyone's individual story. So if you're speaking to a past participant or a registered participant and maybe they haven't updated their page, you could consider encouraging them to update their page. It's a very well-known fact that anyone that updates their page, usually their fundraising will do a little bit better because it shows, you know, their personal story and their personal connection to it. So always great to take a few minutes and update pages as you go. And that's something that you could consider as well, sharing with your community to really motivate them or offer as a fundraising tip. So for this year, we're very excited to announce our 25-day countdown. So starting at the end of July and rolling all the way up to August 23rd will be a social media post a day and an engagement campaign a day to really drive home the exciting 25-day countdown, of course, in honor of our 25 years to the Gutsy Walk. So each day at the national end, we'll have a theme or a campaign or a craft. For example, there's coloring pages, there's Wellness Wednesdays, there's Mission Mondays where we let people know about our impact, and all sorts of different movements. And those are all ideas that you can reshare on your local pages. You can put a local spin on it, or you can just reshare it to your pages and say, hey, Kelowna, you know, this is Mission Monday, check out this impact. It's really up to you how much you'd like to personalize it, how much you'd like to tailor it to your community. But that will be coming out, and I believe it starts a couple days before August commences. There are 2 days, however, in the 25-day countdown that I wanted to go over with you. The first one is day 19 on Wednesday, August 5th. It's a contest for all of our committees to submit an idea which will be showcased at the national level as a countdown. So we're opening up the floors to you. We'd love to hear your creative ideas about something that you would love to see during the countdown. And for one committee and one community, we're going to take that idea and use it at the national level. So get your creative juices flowing, and we would love to hear your ideas. You can connect with your staff partner and let them know, and they'll pass it on to us here. Secondly, there will be another showcase day for one committee where we'll be showcasing everyone in that committee, showing what they've done, what the Gutsy Walk looks like in their community, et cetera, et cetera. So those 2 days just wanted to bring your attention to, and I will keep rolling through.
Robin?
Yes.
Before you go into the day piece, we just want to acknowledge, thank you everybody for all of your ideas that you're sharing, because the other thing we're also committed to doing is to taking those ideas and sharing them across the country for the different committees or for anybody who wasn't unable to join the call. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, because I think there was a rush of questions at the beginning of call, we can come back to those when Robin's done.
All right, thanks so much, Jacqueline. So our last piece here that we're going to go over is a draft snapshot of what Gutsy Walk Day on August 23rd will look like. So keep in mind, we're still firming up the details here, but we wanted to give you an idea at both the national level and the local level what it might look like. So our national start time is still to be confirmed, but we're looking at about an 11 a.m. start. Where we would be sharing photos, videos, selfies, etc., that are from social media. The platforms that would be largely used would be Facebook Live, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then live video and incorporating that into social media. The format would likely be starting with an opening ceremonies and speeches, followed by an inspirational story with, of course, mention to our impact over 25 years and beyond. Sponsor thank yous, some entertainment, thank yous to everyone and our committees, announcing our top fundraisers nationally, And all of that, it wouldn't be an extensive all-day process. The format would be probably not more than an hour or so and would largely be focused on the video content at the beginning and then sharing various pieces of media across the country throughout the day. There will be a dress rehearsal date much closer to August, which we'll announce, but that will be us rolling through the details, confirming the platforms that we're using everything on, what's being used and how it's being used. So at the local level, that draft snapshot could look anything like below. As much as it could happen anytime on August 23rd, it would just need to happen outside of the national timeline, just so we don't have any overlap and we can make sure that each walk has their own individual times. But throughout the day, it would be things like following, liking, and engaging with the national social activity, but also largely and very importantly with your community and your walkers who are sharing photos, videos, selfies, and signs, talking about their where and their how and their why, and of course what they're doing. That duration we leave up to you. Obviously, with the virtual nature of the event, everything everywhere is very different across the board, so that duration is up to you to figure out and work with your staff partner. But that suggested format could be quite similar to the national platforms, but also putting that, again, that local spin on it. So organizing a virtual opening ceremonies where you may have an inspirational speaker, your honorary chair coming to speak, the volunteer committee saying a few words, and then potentially followed by a warm-up. So if you know any athletic instructors in the areas, maybe they can lead everyone through a quick 5-10 minute warm-up before everyone's team starts, thanking and celebrating top teams and individuals, the why to why we're walking, celebrating, oops, sorry, that's duplicate, thanking sponsors at both the national and especially the local level, and of course, sharing Gutsy Walk completion certificates across the board. So those certificates will be available in the participant center at a later date closer to the Gutsy Walk, but it's a digital file that we will be providing with everyone so that people can have something at home that says, I completed the 25th anniversary Gutsy Walk, and it can be shared outwards on social media as an engagement piece, but of course something for everyone to hold on to as a very special piece of history for the Gutsy Walk.
And Robin, if I can also just add, in terms of the day of Gutsy Walk, our goal on a national level, and we invite you to share the same, what makes Gutsy Walk so special is that we bring people together and we show them that they're not alone on their journey, that they're supported by a community that cares, that's resilient, and we want to share that hope. So come day of walk, we're going to try and share some of that from a national perspective, but we invite you as well on your local pages, whether you're going to be active on Facebook and Twitter through your social media leads, to engage your participants from your community, from your town, so that they're also reminded that in the town of Kelowna, there are other people there who care and that they're sharing their stories of why they're walking. So that ultimately on that one day, we can not only think about how we're all together doing the same thing, we're here for the same purpose, but we can also see it actively taking place on social media as well. So just something to ruminate in terms of the overall objective of all of that activity that we're going to be encouraging through the day on a national level, and that we invite you to also take part locally.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Jacqueline. And that is the end of our presentation. Jacqueline or Sherry, we may have a few minutes for questions. So did you have any questions that we wanted to address on the call?
Sure. So one of the questions we received was, when can we share the 25-day countdown with our participants? And the response to that would be that we are going to be announcing that through e-communications to registered, and we're going to keep pushing people who haven't registered yet. We're going to keep reminding them that we're here, and we're going to also let them know, hey, this is what the plan for the week looks like, because as Robin said at the beginning of this call, we recognize that not everybody's going to be active on social media, and that's okay. We just want them to know that across the country on day number 5, let's say, we're all going to be doing this. So feel free to take part in your own home, whatever you're most comfortable with. So that's what we'll be doing in terms of sharing, and we'll be actively, as we get closer to that countdown, at the beginning of the week, we'll lay out what the rest of the week looks like. Another question that also came up was, and this kind of goes to the day number 19 that was put forward for inviting our committees to put an idea that we can feature on day 19. When is the deadline to submit those ideas? So our thoughts were that June the 19th, in complementing the 19th day, for everybody to submit their ideas, so then we can come back and announce which idea was at the forefront. And of course, we look forward to sharing those ideas as well and collecting them and sharing them with all the committees, so everybody can kind of, rather than create a wheel, we can all just kind of tune up from there. So that was one of the other questions. And another question that also came up was, will National be providing call notes for us to use when calling past participants? Absolutely. Robin, do you want to speak to that one? The retention cluster?
Yeah, so we will absolutely be providing those scripts back. We are in the final stages of updating them. They were from last year, so we needed to just make sure that they were encapsulating all of the information for the virtual walk this year, but those should be available definitely within the next week or two.
And do you want to share with the group about the mailing that's coming out?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mailing that is going out traditionally went out in about March or so when our event was in June. So roughly about the same timeline, but it is a 25th anniversary letter as well as a selfie sign. So the 25th anniversary letter is written from our CEO, Meena Mawani, as well as our National Honorary Chair, Emma, speaking to the importance this year, of course, over any year because it's the 25th year. So that's being sent to past participants. It's a really engaging letter. We really hope that people will receive it and remember why they've done the Gutsy Walk in the past. Also included in that mailing is a fundraising sign that has the space for them to write their fundraising goal, who they're walking for, as well as a thermometer for them to track their fundraising along the way. So we hope that people will fill that out, put it on their desk, put it on their fridge, their window, wherever, let everyone else know that they're doing the Gutsy Walk, and keep track of the progress and share it on social media with everyone as time goes on.
And then Robin, also, so we're going to be mailing that to people who haven't registered and have supported in the past. And some people who have registered since may also still receive it. But we'll also, once the mail has dropped, we'll make sure it's available on the website as well for anybody who's looking for extra copies.
Correct. Yeah, there will be digital copies of it in the participant center.
Great. So the next question was, are the PSA scripts for media going to be available in the volunteer toolkit on the website? So our response to that would be, it is likely going to come to you first and foremost from your staff partner before it goes to the website. And then the next question that went in tangent with that was the social media training session recorded? Unfortunately, the technology was not working with us that day and it did not get recorded. However, we did since roll out a copy of the presentation, and that was, Sherry, is that correct? We rolled it out already, right?
Yes, staff partners have it, and we are going to be doing an additional training, I believe, maybe next week, for anybody that you know, kind of wanted a little bit more in-depth look at social media.
Yeah, so for any of our digital leads or anyone that needs a bit more of a baseline training, social media 101 really on just how some of the platforms work, we'll be offering that at some point next week. Your staff partner will have details about that shortly as well.
That's great. And then there was a question at the beginning where somebody asked about, will there be a website for the Walking Across Canada Challenge? So we're not going to have a website posted specifically to interact with people's Fitbits or their Apple Watches. However, we're going to put the onus on our participants to gauge what their steps look like, and then we're going to collect them all in a format that will be easy to combine everybody's totals. So it'll be informally achieved. All right. Robin, anything else on your part?
No, I think that's it from my end. And just to reiterate what Jacqueline said, your questions and your feedback really is so important to us. So much of it has helped us really do the preliminary planning, and we're constantly taking it into consideration. And it's been really helpful in some cases as well to hear feedback and hear the questions. So please do connect with your staff partner and pass along some things as well if they weren't shared in the chat or the questions this evening. But thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you all enjoyed the presentation and are looking forward to August 23rd and all things to come as much as we are.
Yes, thank you everybody so much. We appreciate this is a very unique year for us and for each of you, and personal lives. And we're so grateful that you're still walking with us. And sincerely, our team at the office, like we are heart and soul in this, and we really want to still move forward and have a successful event and ensure that we can continue to move our projects forward, provide programming. I'm not sure how many of you have been able to tune in to our weekly COVID webinar sessions that have been happening. We've had a lot of good response, participation, not just within Canada, but in the US as well, people from different countries. So we've seen there's definitely a need for that, and we've tried to do our best to pivot to those needs as the times have changed as well. So we thank you for being with us, and we look forward to continuing to share more information, more resources as we continue to move along. And thank you. Please share all your great ideas forward. Like I said, we'd love to share them across. We know some of you are, out in the races and you're moving forward with some excellent plans, and let's share that strength together. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.